Okay, arguably the biggest game for our domestic sides in Europe this week was Liverpool. We hear so much about those famous nights at Anfield and you'll never walk alone. And it started off, I thought, very well for Liverpool. The first 15, 20 minutes, they got at Real, they tried to close them down. They went a 4-3-3 and pressed high up the pitch. It didn't last long, though, unfortunately, in the brilliance of Ronaldo. And then within 18 minutes, they're 3-0 down. It was a tough game for Liverpool.
Yeah, it was. And I think it kind of puts things into perspective. Yes, they had a great season last year, but suddenly you're up against the European champions. And like you said, the first 20 minutes was brilliant. What you expected from Liverpool at Anfield after such a great, before the game atmosphere. And it was a shame they couldn't maybe break the deadlock in that first 20 minutes. I think it would have made for a much better game for the neutral to watch. But again, brilliance from James Rodriguez and then Ronaldo's finish. And that's the difference. And then suddenly that they've got the confidence and Liverpool are a bit down and they just cruise from then on.
I think it probably tells us where Liverpool and Brendan Rodgers are, both as a club and as a manager. He's still very young and inexperienced as a manager. Liverpool vastly experienced in the Champions League, but of course been out for it of a number of years. Are we seeing a club still finding their feet back into the Champions League?
Definitely, and I think it's going to take a few more years of Champions League football if they can keep qualifying to build the squad. And like you say, Brendan Rodgers is inexperienced, especially in European football. Yes, he's been alongside Jose Mourinho in the past, and it surprises me that perhaps they're struggling to be hard to beat at times. And again, you had Balotelli, you had Coutinho and Sterling all up the pitch at one point, and then they get caught. So again, it's naive from Liverpool, and I think it's something that they'll learn.
Are you surprised at home that Liverpool went as gung-ho as they did? Was that a problem, the fact they had the crowd behind them, that they went 4-3-3?
It doesn't surprise me because I think that was the way to go against Real Madrid and try and get that early goal. They didn't get that early goal, and as soon as they conceded, then maybe it was a time to sit back, and they didn't. They then went to try and score the equaliser, and again, it's just inexperience. You look at the players that Liverpool got, not many of them have got European experience. And again, sometimes you have just got to hold your hands up and say you're up against the world's best players. And unfortunately, Liverpool haven't got that many world-class players.
The Steven Gerrard scenario is interesting. I personally think he's finished at the very highest level 3 games in a week. I don't think he can do it. He didn't do it against QPR. He hasn't done it all season. Didn't do it against Real Madrid. Has Brendan got to look at him as his skipper, maybe leaving him out and having extra legs in there?
I'm sure he won't want to. I know he won't want to, and I'm sure Steven Gerrard won't want to. But you have got a point. Maybe 3 games a week is too much for him. It's very difficult because he is such a good player, and having trained alongside him, I've seen just how good he is as a player. He is absolutely outstanding, and but he's always been an attacking midfielder for me. He's now playing that holding role, and I don't think it suits him. I don't think defensively he's probably good enough and wants to perhaps do that work. He's always been best when he's going forward, so it's a real tricky situation for Brendan Rodgers.
Do you think Brendan could play him further forward? I mean,
I would play him
number 10.
Yeah, I would. I'd see how he's going to do well there because he's played there all his career. Probably some of his best football was in behind Torres. And asking him to constantly track back and play that role defensively, it's not probably his game for me.
Especially when you've got players around you, like Ronaldo, like Modric, like Benzema,
yeah.
whose movement is fabulous. Don't forget, Bale didn't even play. And the goal from Ronaldo, you could see he wasn't alone. I mean, I don't want to make this a witch hunt against him, but you could see he couldn't quite get there. He couldn't quite close the ball down. And it was 2-1-2s around him that eventually led to that goal. And I just wonder whether Brendan needs, not just in the Champions League, in the Premier League, to think about where he's going to use him and how the best to get out of him. Can he play? Can he play against QPR at the weekend, Real Madrid, and then again at the weekend? Might he have to take him out of some of those other games?
Well, you see so many players. I mean, Ryan Giggs is a perfect example. Didn't play week in, week out. Alex Ferguson slowly played him in maybe crucial games, that he needed to win. QPR away is a crucial game in the Premier League. You need to get points there. Then maybe Real Madrid, you think, I need some legs. I need people that can get close to players And so, maybe Brendan Rodgers does need to look at how he uses Steven Gerrard, but it's hard to leave a player out who keeps putting in good performances, especially in the Premier League. He does put in good performances, and he's such a leader. But I think again, Liverpool are crying out for that sort of defensive midfielder that's going to protect the back four.
Again, like Man City, despite not playing particularly well, they can still progress out of this group because Real Madrid have been so dominant. Do you expect them to?
I still think they will. Yeah, I mean, there's Real Madrid out on 9 points and the rest of them on 3. And again, I can see them getting results against the other teams. That's what they've got to concentrate on. Forget about Real Madrid; they're a class above. You know, they're not going to probably go to to the Bernabeu and get a result. So really concentrate on the other 2 games. And I can see them progressing, especially at Anfield. The game at Anfield, I think they'll win.
Okay, and finally, of our domestic clubs, Arsenal picked up, some say lucky, scraped through on a 2-win victory. Some games are all about the result. I think this probably is one of those, Dino, that goes down to didn't play well, probably should have got beat, actually come home with 3 points, let's move on.
Yeah, and I think probably when they equalised, I'm sure Arsene Wenger was probably thinking, I'll take a point, and then to get the victory, it's a massive result. And Arsene Wenger's done this throughout his Arsenal career. Just when we think they're perhaps not going to qualify for the Champions League and they scrape 4th, and in the group stages they just seem to do enough to get through. So again, I think they'll be fine in this group. That was a massive result for them.
Arsenal not playing well though, and yet they're doing okay in the Premier League. They're doing all right in the Champions League, but something's not quite clicking at the moment. There's something that seems to be missing. People are talking about a defensive midfielder, and I felt that Flamini again got exposed, as he has done this season. Will that be a downfall then, both domestically and in Europe?
I think it can. I think Arteta and Flamini have both played that role and both lacking pace, and especially in that role when you've got the likes of Yaya Toure running at you, they can't stop players like that. So maybe they need to look at that. But again, I hate to say it, injuries have hampered Arsenal. It seems to happen year on, year out.
Why? Because every single year, you're absolutely right, every year we talk about Arsenal, and invariably at some stage of the conversation, injuries come round. You can't keep using that as an excuse or a reason, because it's a massive squad game now. The best squads win tend to be the main honours. So why are Arsenal every year suffering with injuries? Is it training? Is it?
It must. I mean, it's interesting to see that Per Mertesacker came out and said they perhaps weren't training hard enough, and so there's obviously something not right there. But like you say, with the squads they've got, they should be able to cope. But any team that loses their best players to injury are going to struggle. You take, Aguero, Company out of Manchester City, and vice versa for the other teams. They are going to struggle. So it is tough for Arsenal. I think if they don't win at the weekend, I think that could be the worst start for Arsene Wenger in the first 9 games at Arsenal, which is interesting considering the money they've spent as well.
Okay, they beat Anderlecht. Dortmund, as we probably expected, despite domestically also not having the greatest season, they're top. Arsenal a second. Galatasaray in the mix as well, but you expect Arsenal to qualify?
Yeah, I do, and if they can get it right against Dortmund in that second game against them, then they hopefully will qualify top of the group. But like you said, they haven't been playing well. You wonder how far they can actually go. Maybe it'll be one step too far once they get through to the knockouts.
So of all of the English clubs we discussed now, who do you expect to progress? I think Man City and Chelsea got the best squads. Liverpool still finding the feet. Arsenal always get out of the group stage but get knocked out. Who is your favourite to go the furthest?
Chelsea will breeze through for me. I think they're so strong in all areas of the pitch. I think Liverpool and Arsenal will both go through, and I think Manchester City are going to fall short. I think, yes, Roma got beat heavily, but they're a good team, Roma.